Welcome back, everybody. We're in our fourth season of Indie Reads Aloud, and I am so excited because this is the place where I get to tell you about all the most amazing authors on the planet, and so many of them have become friends, and today is no exception. Julie Navickas is back in the studio with us again today. Thank you, Julie, for coming back.
Thank you for having me. It's been a little bit of time, but I was so looking forward to seeing you again.
You, me, you as well. This is it's so exciting. We took a little bit of a hiatus over the winter for a break just to give my brain some time to retool.
As you
Um,
should.
and then I was looking at people I wanted to have back on the program again, and I realized in the time since we've been apart, you've written three more books.
Oof, yeah, that sounds
We
that's crazy, but
away from each other that long. That's kind of my
I don't
point.
know. I see you on social all the time and I don't know why. Yep, I'm so glad that we are able to get back together. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, this is going to be really fun. So this is going to be the first reading you're going to do for us. You're going to come
Mhm.
back two more times.
I am.
So anybody listening today, make sure that you subscribe so that you can come back and hear the rest of Julie's amazing work because she's pretty incredible, folks. It's pretty amazing. For those of you who have not met Julie yet, Julie Navickas is a best-selling and award-winning, nationally recognized contemporary romance novelist known for her keen ability to tell heart-wrenching second chance love stories. Don't we all love those? Oh my God. Through relatable characters with humility, humor, and heroism. Your stories are always so wonderful. I mean, we get wrapped up in your characters, and then when we're done, we just kind of like let out the sigh of relief and go, it doesn't really stink after all. There's good in the world.
You know what? That's one of the most wonderful things I think anyone could ever say about my work.
Well, I mean it from the depths of my heart. It's nice to be able to just distance ourselves from the cold reality of ugliness that's going on right now in so many places.
Yeah.
And just to
Hmm.
get involved in the happiness of story. I love that you bring
Absolutely.
that to us. So thanks
Oh, I
for doing that.
I appreciate you saying that. It's a wonderful creative outlet for me. And I mean, like you point out, right? It's a nice escapism to just be in somebody else's problems and help them work through it. And I don't have to think about my own.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's an escapism on both ends.
Without a doubt.
So, Julie is also an award winning university instructor and serves as the executive director of the Writing Champions Project. You're still doing that, right?
Not really.
No?
No, I
I
think I
have
need
an
to give you
older
some
bio for
updated
you then.
information.
Yeah.
Yes. I can fill in the gaps a little bit for you if that's
Great.
helpful, because I know
So,
it's
can
been
you do
some
that?
time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. So since you and I have talked, I have moved into a different space. I do still teach in the School of Communication at Illinois State University. I've moved into more of a part-time capacity there because I have a new job in corporate communications at an insurance company here in Central Illinois. So it's a little bit
Wow.
different for me
That's
since
a
we talked.
different environment altogether.
Very, very different, but it's a wonderful change. Very welcomed.
Nice. It's
Yeah,
fun to kind of sometimes use our brains in different ways.
without a doubt. Great learning opportunities.
Sure. I am so excited about your new book. This is Trusting Love. You have a copy nearby so we can see the cover?
I do. Oh,
Yay! It's
well,
such a pretty cover too. I just
it's
love
my own
this.
fault. Yep.
So I'm looking at the cover and you have a tent on the cover. So this tells me that maybe this might be a camping adventure.
It does have a little bit of some outdoor adventures in it. You are absolutely correct.
So again, testament to why the cover is important, author people. So tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah. So, Trusting Love, it's still in the contemporary romance genre. It is book one in a trilogy. So, this is my Clumsy Little Hearts trilogy. And for readers who have maybe experienced my work before and have read through the Trading Heartbeats trilogy, you're going to find a very familiar character. Anyone who has read through and recognizes Tess Browning, this is where this series started. So she is the overlapping character that ties my two trilogies together.
How
She didn't,
fun.
yeah, she did not have a very happy ending in the last work that I produced. And it just didn't sit right with me. And I thought, well, what can
Sure.
I do with her? Like, she needs her happy ending too. So, no spoilers or anything, right? But maybe she gets her happy ending in this book.
Well, she gets a story, and that's 50% of
She
the way
does.
there,
She
right?
does. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. A nice redemption arc for her.
That's so much fun. I love that you're doing this crossover idea, because so often we discover an author's work and
Hmm.
then we think that's all they do.
Oh,
So
right?
it's really
Backlist.
nice to have like little tapestries that you weave together for us so that we can see the wider range of your tremendous
Yeah.
talent. And
Oh,
that's and we get to learn about little side characters in a new way too.
exactly. Exactly. I was really happy to have some familiarity and bring in
Mhm.
some characters that I've written before and engaged with. But, her story brings in 5 new characters that I got to, learn about and share theirs as well. So it worked out really well. I'm very pleased with how it happened.
So much more material.
Yeah, I know. And you can churn it out pretty fast.
It's so much fun as an author, and I think you might agree with me, when we discover a new character and then discover that they not only have friends and frenemies and sidekicks and pets that then have their stories. I mean, it's
Mhm.
a discovery process for us too, right?
Oh, absolutely. None of this was planned. It just, it just sometimes the story tells itself.
Well, and even for passionate plotters,
Hmm.
we stumble on discovery all the time in our
Oh, for
writing.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm so looking forward to having you read again. I've missed
Me
you,
too. I miss
so
you
I'm
too.
just going to sit back and be my little 6-year-old self, and I'm going to let you read out loud to me whenever you're ready. Take the microphone.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again. I'm excited. So I spent some time this morning just thinking through what passage would be best. I've often discovered that sometimes chapter 1 is not the best place to start in and just kind of share, what your story is about. And so I gave it some thought and I decided that I'm going to read a portion of chapter 3 today on the podcast. And the reason I selected this is because this is the moment that Tess and her love interest, Ryan, this is how they meet. So I think it's more descriptive of what their relationship looks like, and will give you a little bit of a inside look at who they are and what they become together.
I
So
love
chapter 3.
diving directly into the deep end.
Me too.
So much
It's more
fun.
fun. It's more fun than just the intro stuff.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
All right, here I go. I'm going to do my best not to stumble over my words. I practiced, but we'll see how well it came off. Chapter 3, from Tessa's point of view. Tess leaned over the ancient file cabinet and dug her perfectly manicured fingers into the depths of the register's history. The musty manila folders vomited puffs of dust with each flip of her wrist. Achoo! A shiver sprinted along her skin. The violent sneeze prickled like pins and needles. Dragging her hand beneath her nose, she frowned. Why am I even searching for this? Tess muttered to the empty room. She stuffed her hands back into the file cabinet and groaned. Like anyone cares what year the ridiculous Rosewood Gala started anyway. The sharp edge of the 1986 file snagged her pinky, slicing her skin with vigor. Ouch! Tess rammed her finger in her mouth and cringed as blood dripped across her tongue. Ugh, the gala gods, she whined and exclaimed and examined the cut closer. The slice in her skin oozed red. Hello? A deep male voice echoed down the hallway, and the rusted bell on the front door jingled. Is anyone here? Tess rolled her eyes and slammed the metal drawer closed. Yanking the single remaining tissue from the box on the storeroom shelf, she huffed out in an exaggerated breath and wrapped up the still bleeding injury before stomping away. Hello, the voice called again. Coming, she yelled, and tripped again on the snag in the hallway carpet. The breath caught in her throat as she stumbled forward and lunged for the front door doorknob. Her heart jolted from the near faceplant. Oh, are you okay? Paint flaked from her fingertips and dropped to the stained carpet as his voice penetrated her ears. With a grimace, she lifted her gaze to the mystery man. Her heart skipped a full beat as a sudden concoction of embarrassment and attraction barreled through her veins. A pair of mesmerizingly quizzical, chocolate brown eyes looked back. His concerned expression stalled all airflow in her lungs. Are you all right? He asked again and pointed at her white knuckled grip on the metal frame. Nodding, Tess straightened and tucked her messy white blonde curls behind her ears. Ooh, yeah, sorry. She smiled as heat flushed her cheeks. Not my usual way to enter a room. Oh, yeah? What is? He tilted his head and returned her smile, each tooth dazzlingly white in a sexy grin. Tess snorted and approached the counter with a shrug. I'm not so sure, but it usually doesn't involve this much tripping. What about bleeding? Bleeding? She wrinkled her nose. Yeah, he pointed to the counter. You've got blood. Tess dropped her gaze and gagged at the single tissue surrounding her pinky. The blood-soaked bit of cloth now dripped to the desk surface. Oh my God, ew, I'm so sorry. A half smile crept along his lips. It's okay. Are you sure you're all right? Tugging a few fresh tissues from the box on the corner of the counter, he handed them over. That looks like one nasty cut. Tess released a breath and accepted the tissue, pressing them against the source of the bloody wound. And this proves to me that it's the last time I ever do research for a story again. Well, you must be a reporter here then. She snorted. I guess you could say that. What was it you were researching? Something totally useless. Rolling her eyes, Tess wrapped another tissue around her pinky for good measure and lifted her line of sight to his. But, my useless research is probably not why you came in here. What can I help you with? Mr. Prescott. Ryan Prescott. He extended his hand over the counter as if to shake, but grinned instead. Ooh, sorry. His cheeks flushed as his gaze dropped to the floor. I'm an idiot. You're not. I'm the one who lost the battle to a manila file folder. Giggling, she extended her left hand and gripped his in a makeshift handshake. Tess Browning, she murmured. His lips twisted into another smile as he grasped her hand. His palm warmed to the touch. Well, Tess Browning, you're exactly the woman I came to see. Oh? His hand disappeared from hers, and the sudden loss of warmth was an unexpected disappointment. My partner, former-ish partner, sent me. And why's that? Tess eyed him and peered at the tiny split in his bottom lip. I need to take out an ad in your paper. Ryan gestured toward the desktop computer in front of her, and Mitch recommended I speak to you specifically. The flirtatious flutter in her heart ceased, flopping dead between beats. Mitch Benson? She choked out. Tilting her head, she sighed and tossed the bloody tissues into the garbage beneath the desk. After grabbing a few more, she rewrapped the wound as the ache in her chest amplified. The persistent reminders of her past mistakes always came back for another round. Yep, he winked. And he even told me that you'd help me paint whatever job I land next, too. A flood of memories returned from the recollection of Mitch's voice, drifting through her mind with his unexpected compassion, until his echoed whispers pummeled into her soul, each letter of each word vocalizing the desire for a second chance with Lauren instead of her. The recall blurred her vision. The disappointment in her heart faltered until she swallowed the dream of what would never be, what could never be. Well, he did he? She choked out and eyed the chipped paint on the surrounding walls, the flaking pieces a fresh reminder of the close moments she and Mitch shared last spring. Ryan nodded. Yeah, but he's clearly an idiot. You're far too pretty to ever throw on a pair of paint coveralls. The throb in her pinky doubled as the laughter escaped her lips and fueled her bloodstream with adrenaline. Who said anything about paint coveralls? She lifted her bright blue gaze to his. A clean paint job is something I can handle. And what about an ad in your paper? She snorted. I can handle that too, Mr. Prescott. Dropping onto the rolling chair at the front desk, she gripped the mouse and roused the computer from sleep mode. Saturday's still vacant cover appeared, the subsequent pages still barely half full. What are you thinking? A quarter-page ad? Maybe a half-page spread? I'd like your recommendation, Miss Browning. After all, you seem to be the expert with lead lines. His witty words set her heart ablaze. Grinning from ear to ear, she giggled and lifted her tissue-wrapped finger. Ha ha, cute, Mr. Prescott. Ryan, he corrected, and leaned forward on the counter, resting his upper body weight on his elbows. What do you recommend for a guy who needs to source a few jobs while his partner takes a year off to have a baby? Tess nodded as understanding seeped into her soul, a sucker punch to the gut. When is Lauren due? In a month, which means I have to get my butt moving if I won't have a new house to flip anytime soon. Tess lifted her gaze to the register's walls once more, the dingy, ugly cream color sparking an idea. And you said you're looking for a paint job? Paint, drywall, plumbing, it doesn't really matter to me. He shrugged. I'm a jack of all trades kind of guy. Well, what about starting right here? Her stomach fluttered at the prospect of seeing him again. With a shy smirk, she gestured over her shoulder. I'll trade you. A half-page reoccurring ad for a month to help spruce this place up. She bit her bottom lip as an inkling of embarrassment returned. And I'll also buy the paint and whatever supplies you need, she added. Ryan's gaze lifted, racing up and down the hallway as the long walls of the rosewood register. You're serious? Yes, she answered with a nod. Some of the folders in here literally say 1986. I'm guessing that's when these walls were painted last. Ryan laughed, his sweet smile meeting his eyes. What new color are you thinking? He asked, sliding to the left to size up the full length of the hallway. Well, what's your expert recommendation? He squinted and tilted his head. How about lavender? It's a calming color, really good for creative spaces like this. Her once lavender bathroom returned to her mind, the recollection of Mitch repainting it pink to make her happy, gripping her gut. Biting back the flood of emotion, she swallowed. Well, I might need to look at a few paint color swatches just to be sure. Ryan nodded. I think we have a deal then, Miss Browning. When do you want me to start? He tapped the counter with his paint-coated index finger and raised a brow. And with a glance back at Saturday's blank front page, Tess sighed. I've got nothing but time. Care to take a trip to the hardware store with me and explore? His cheeks flushed bright pink. My car or yours?
Okay, that's very, very fun.
I
And
tripped
now I
over my words a
know
little bit.
I have another book I have to read. The
I
great
would
thing about
imagine you
doing
get a
this,
lot.
it's a great thing to do this program. I get to hear about a bunch of new books and I get to fall in love with them and then I get to read them. So I just don't know how this is a bad idea.
Oh no, there's nothing bad about it.
So so now we have a new trilogy coming out, or
Uh,
it's actually out already,
or out
right?
already. Yes, exactly.
So what comes after this? Because you've been super busy and way creative, and
Yeah,
so what's coming next for you?
absolutely. Yep. So Trusting Love, it came out January of 2024. And the next book that I'll be chatting with you about is called Finding Love, that came out last summer. And then the final book in the trilogy was Chasing Love, that came out last November. Since then, I've kind of just wanted to try something a little bit new, explore a
Okay.
different challenge. And so while these are all contemporary romance stories, I've tried working with romantic suspense instead.
Ooh,
So it's a little
can
bit
you
more
give us a
challenging.
sneak peek? Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, for sure. So, here's my take on it, right? So, contemporary romance, it's solely about the romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, there's some external elements at play, right? But it's about navigating and just kind of figuring out who you are as a person and how you are
Sure.
together, right? So it's really focused on that relationship. But in a romantic suspense, you have a relationship, right? There's still a large part of the plot line, but there's something else going on that drives the story forward. It's more plot focused instead of character driven.
Sure.
So it gave me a little bit more of a challenge just to try something a little bit new. I actually, just before I hopped on this call, I just was about, maybe I'll call it 500 words away from finishing the first
Oh,
draft
that's
of this
so
story.
exciting. How cool.
Yeah, it's been a really wonderful experience so far. So that's actually my third book that I've completed in this romantic suspense area. And I'm
Three of them. Wow.
yeah, well, I mean, you know how it is when you find something you love, you just commit and spend the time and you make the time for it. And so I
Yep.
I love it. I love it. It's wonderful.
I think it's amazing that you juggle children and a writing career. I don't know how you do that, but kudos to you.
Well, you're very kind.
Can
Very kind.
you, because now you've piqued my interest, so can
Mhm.
you tell me just a brief character sketch of the main
Yeah.
character in this upcoming book?
Yeah, for sure. So this last one that I'm working on, it's tentatively titled Lullabies and Little White Lies.
Ooh.
And it's about a girl who is a con artist, and she gets hired for a job that's a little out of her comfort zone, but she takes it on. And then, of course, she falls in love with the man she's supposed to con.
Oh, I
Um,
like that so much.
I don't know that it's outrageously unique, but I think the setting and the specifics behind the story make it, compelling in its
Yeah,
own way. It's set in Napa Valley, so it's got a little bit of a fun wine theme to it. But I'm really
nice.
excited. I'm really happy with the way that it's played
That's
out.
That's very exciting stuff. It's always fun to dip your toes in a new pond, you
Right?
know?
It just seemed like, why do I have to keep doing the same thing? So branch it out a little
Yeah,
bit. Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so excited for you. This is so great. Your
Me
your
too.
career is going so well and
Likewise.
you write such tremendous stories. I'm so excited for you and
Oh,
I'm
you're so
glad that
kind.
you're willing to keep coming back and sharing them with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm sure you're tired of sick and listening to me for the fourth
Not
time here.
even a little bit tired. Not
Okay,
even. You
good.
can come back as often as you like.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for visiting again. And for all the people who are out there who are listening or watching on Spotify and YouTube, make sure that you look at the show notes. I will update Julie's bio. She's going to send me that information. And then there are links there for her website and how to find her books. So definitely check her out. She's an amazing writer and a beautiful human being on top of it. So make sure you go look up Julie and her work. Thanks for coming again.
Thank you so much for having me. This is fun as always.
Awesome. We'll look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
Thank you.